For the rubber game of a three-game series between the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies. Glad you're with us tonight on Peachtree TV. I'm Joe Simpson along with John Smoltz. And John, one thing we've seen a lot of here in this series already, some pretty good starting pitching from the Phillies.
I'll tell you, we've seen great starting pitching. They should be 2-0. They haven't given up a run. They've done everything right. And the Braves hitters have been frustrated. They've had their chances to score, and every chance that they had, the defense came up big or the pitchers executed their pitches. Between the two pitchers, 17 consecutive scoreless innings, and yet they're 1-1. The Braves have a chance to win the rubber match. Roy Halladay was absolutely fantastic. He never really felt that he wasn't in control. Even when the bases were loaded, you felt like the hitters were at a disadvantage, and that's just a credit to how good he is.
I'd say the odds-on leader in the clubhouse right now for the Cy Young Award in April. Speaking of control, Jamie Moyer's on the mound for the Phillies tonight. And this guy's had to display some control. He's 47 years old, made his debut with the Cubs back in 1986.
Well, he makes us all feel good that he's out there and still doing it. He was, left for naught there not too long ago, and he's back in the rotation helping the Phillies. And you look here, this is what you're going to see. Not much has changed. You're not going to see any eye-popping numbers. You're not going to see 93 miles an hour. You're going to see pitches that the hitters are almost tapping their foot waiting for it to get there.
Well, we'll get a good look at him. We'll also get a good look at Derek Lowe, and when we come back, John and I will talk about the Braves starting pitcher right after this timeout. With the Philadelphia Phillies, but they win the series, something they've done already this year 3 out of 4 times, John, and something that Bobby Cox has always stressed in his philosophy.
He really has. He does a good job, as well as the coaching staff. When you break down a season, you break it down in shorter versions, and the easiest thing to do is, hey guys, let's win this series. Every time we play a team, let's win the series. With the exception of a 2-game, you can get a split, but a best of 3, you always want to have the upper hand going into every series, and Bobby does a good job of reinforcing that and letting the guys know, hey, let's go. This is an important game tonight.
And Derek Lowe goes for the Braves tonight, so he's got his opening day starter out there.
He does, and as we mentioned, for everything going right for the opposing starting pitchers, it's going right for Derek Lowe. It's not his fault. Everyone wants to be in this situation. He's got a lot of runs to work with. Pitching's a lot easier when you're pitching with a lead, and he's certainly doing that, and he's not blowing it. So he's 3-0. Look for him to continue what feels good when he goes on the mound. Seems like the Braves score some runs. Hopefully he can go 4-0 and, as you mentioned, win the series.
Well, he's been pitching really well against the Philadelphia Phillies. Went 2-0 against them last year. Braves are hoping for more of the same tonight. John and I will be back with lineups and first pitch at Turner Field right after this.
111 for the year, no home runs and 2 RBIs, filling in for Placido Polanco. Could not answer the bell today with that sore elbow. Outside ball 1. Phillies say Polanco probably will miss just this ball game tonight. Hit on the left elbow and a pitch by Tim Hudson yesterday. 1-0 pitch. Steerike on the outside corner.
I was talking to him down before the game, and he said, "You were right. That place is not funny." I told him what you had said when he hit it, and last night he said he had no energy in that arm for the rest of the night with his swings.
And eventually left the game. 1-1 pitch. Hit off the end of the bat, foul. Trickling over on the third base side, not too far from the on-deck circle where Chase Utley is watching intently. Series even at a game apiece. With a Braves victory tonight, Atlanta can move back into a tie for first in the National League East. Low backs off. Phillies 9-5, Braves 8-6, Marlins and Nationals both 8-7. New York 6-9 entering play today. Swinging a foul back. On our Home Depot scoreboard, couple of finals in the National League. Washington did lose to drop back to 500. Colorado winning in D.C. 2-0 the final. And then in Pittsburgh, I bet the crowd just loved it at PNC Park today when the Brewers won 20-0 over the lovable Pirates. Swinging a foul back. Wonder what the attendance was for that one. I'm going to look that up. Prince Fielder had his first home run of the season in that game. Ryan Braun hit his 5th. Another 1-2 for Dobbs, chopped up along first and foul.
I'll put the over and under at 12,000. You going over or under?
Oh, I just saw the figure, so I'll go over, but not by much.
13-2?
13-6. One-two pitch coming in the dirt and stopped by McCann. That's a bad day. I mean, you don't want to lose 20-0 obviously anywhere, but you definitely don't want to lose 20-0 at home.
There's a nice view at that ballpark, though.
Need a distraction from a game like that. Line to center. Right back through the box. A base hit to center for Dobbs. So protracted battle won by Dobbs. 1 on and 1 out for Chase Utley. 3 for 9 in the series is Utley. And he's one of the few Phillies who's had some luck with Derek Lowe in his career. He's 9 for 23 with a couple of home runs. Left-handed batters have been seeing the ball well out of the right hand of Derek Lowe so far this year. Lefties hitting better than 350. Right-handed batters hitting 200 against Lowe. Pitch is low and inside, ball 1.
I think you and I were talking before we went on the air about what his sinker's been doing, and I think that's the reason lefties have been hit. It hasn't really been sinking. It's been running, staying in the same plane, not going away and down, and all the left-hander has to do is just reach a little farther.
Low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. That slider's a more effective pitch against righties than lefties also.
Right.
Slider coming into left-hand batters. They get a good look at it.
I'd like to see him throw his changeup just a little bit more to lefties.
Yeah, he doesn't throw that many changeups. 2-0 coming. Caught the outside corner barely. Saw that Derek Lowe had a couple of side sessions since his last start.
So he went double instead of just the regular one, huh? Trying to work out some of the kinks.
And I've heard some sinker ballers sometimes say they throw the ball better when they're a little bit tired. Off the plate outside, it's 3-1 now on Utley.
People might wonder what the heck you're talking about when you do that, but I think when you're a sinker baller, you want action, not velocity. So if you go from 91, if you go from 89 to 90, you might get quicker velocity, but you're going to get less action. So throwing that extra time may take just enough edge off that you get more movement.
Backdoor slider for a strike. 3-2. Good pitch there.
I think Lowe can commiserate with Tommy Hanson, can he? He's facing his third hitter. He's got one out, a runner on, and he's already thrown 18 pitches. Phillies will make you do that.
Both Hudson and Hanson with elevated pitch counts early in the games. That's one of the keys today, is to try and get a deep outing from Derek Lowe. Runners moving. The pitch is lined into right field. Clean base hit along the line. Hayward chasing it, picks it up, and fires to second. He'll hold Utley at first with a long single. Dobbs advances to third. So the Phillies are setting up shop here in the first inning against Derek Lowe.
You know, Jim, I think people probably are already getting tired of us throwing bouquets to Jason Hayward about how mature he is. There was a good example there. If he comes up and guns it to home plate, the Phillies are not going to try to score the runner from third, but they will have Utley at second. Instead, he came up through to the cutoff man. Now the double play is still in order with a sinker baller on the mound.
Very good point. Hayward hasn't done anything spectacular in right field yet, but he's certainly capable. Howard hits one to the gap in right center. Melky Cabrera won't get there and plays it on a bounce. A run is in as the Phillies take the lead. Utley goes to third on the RBI single by Howard.
Jumped on the first pitch, his 16th RBI, and the Phillies, just like that, are up 1-0. That looked like a pitch that was up.
Yeah, it's the pitch he's actually had a lot of success against, Howard. It's a down and in, supposed to be almost, looked like they might have gone backdoor with a slider, but he's been having good success down at Howard's feet. And Howard has not recognized that pitch by showing by his average of 160. And again, it's just up in the zone.
Jason Worth stands in and takes ball one. Worth's had a good series, 3 for 8, 3 doubles. 2-0.
That's the pitch he's got to get. That pitch is a good pitch. He needs that help from the umpire so he can stay right there.
But he falls behind 3-0.
The problem is those last two sinkers were really good, but it didn't get the hitter to swing at him, which would have probably been a double play.
There's a strike. 3-1. This is where Derek can be at his best too, is when a hitter might be overly aggressive and chase that sinker. And he did, but he pulled it foul. 3-2. Jason Worth is one of those guys. I think you said something about him last night, kind of flying under the radar because of all the other stars in their lineup. But he has really become a good player. Payoff pitch. Down the line, but hooking foul. Worth's mom was the daughter of Dick Schofield, former Major League shortstop, and she herself a good track athlete. And his uncle, Dick Schofield Jr., longtime Major League shortstop. Another payoff pitch, broken bat fly ball to shallow left center. Cabrera comes over. Utley's going to tag. The throw to the plate will be late, and it's a sacrifice fly for Worth, and the Phillies lead 2-0. Give Worth his 8th RBI of the year.
Last year he had 50 tied with Fielder, most RBIs with 2 strikes. So that just shows you he does not just go up there and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's adjusting and doing the things that you have to do to put it in play that create RBIs.
Well, this inning started so well for Derek Lowe. He got Victorino swinging at a bad pitch, got ahead of Dobbs 1 and 2. And then Greg Dobbs fouled off 2, 3, 4 pitches before lining a single. And since then, Phillies have had some good at-bats. Ibanez and the 1-0 pitch to him, a little off the plate. Raul's had a good series after coming in cold.
And as we said, this is going to be a different type of game. This is not going to be the games that have fallen in the trends the first 2 where 1-0, 2-0. This typically is going to have a little bit more action. The hitters are going to get pitches to hit.
Line to Prado, and he's there for the out, but not before the Phillies put 2 on the board in the first. They do it on 3 hits and leave a runner. We go to the bottom of the first. 2-0 Philly. The starting lineup tonight for Game 3. Matt Diaz leads it off, followed by Martin Prado and Chipper Jones, who over the last 5 games has really picked up the pace. Brian McCann, the cleanup hitter, and then Troy Gloss. Escobar moves into the 5-hole tonight. Bottom third of the order, Hayward, Cabrera, and Lowe. And 47-year-old Jamie Moyer is on the mound, making his 3rd start. 1-1 with a 7.50 ERA.
Patience, patience, and more patience if you're the Braves lineup trying to figure out the crafty 47-year-old.
We'll have a hard time tonight trying to determine if that was a changeup or fastball at 80 miles an hour. Matt Diaz leads it off tonight. 0 for 4 in the series.
What he's going to do, he's going to take a little off, then he's going to take a little bit more off. He's going to cut one. He's going to turn one over. He's going to throw a big hook. He's never going to make you feel like you've got a rhythm for what he's trying to do. He only has 259 wins, which is the most in active pitchers. And he has been with an array of teams and has really some surprising numbers that might surprise fans of the not only the Phillies, but from afar.
Good piece of hitting, but a better catch by Worth. Matt Diaz went the other way, but Jason Worth with a nice diving catch. One out.
If you see this replay, again, defense coming up big for the Phillies. But if I asked you, Joe, we know it now because we saw it, how many people would pick Jamie Moyer as the winner in the Phillies? Of all the pitchers the last couple of years, 3 years, he leads all the Philly pitchers.
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed that. You would have guessed Cole Hamels, I think, as their team leader, but not so. Last 3 years, it's been Moyer. Martin Prado suddenly in a little bit of an 0 for 6 spell. That can happen when, as we were talking in our opening comments, guys like Kendrick and Halliday are on their game. That's foul.
Jamie has logged almost 4,000 innings. Again, active leader. 3,908 innings. Actually, 3,908 and 2/3. As I mentioned, the Cubs, the Rangers, the Cardinals, the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Phillies, the Tigers are some of the teams that he has.
Line, but caught by Dobbs. 2 line shots and 2 lined outs. The defense behind Moyer, be on your toes, get the married men off the infield. Ibanez, Victorino, and Worth. Left, center, and right. Dobbs tonight at third base, Castro at short, Utley and Howard on the right side. Carlos Ruiz doing the catching.
Top of the Braves lineup. 429, 438, 389, 364, 352 are the averages against Jamie Moyer in their career.
To the hole, that one will get through. Chipper goes after the first pitch, and the Braves have their first hit of the night. And he continues his hot hitting. He's hit in 4 straight. Jamie Moyer is among left-handers in Major League history. He's in the top 10 in wins. 259 wins places him 10th, right in between Carl Hubble and Epa Rixey. Pretty impressive. Warren Spahn tops on that list. 363 wins. Tom Glavine's 4th. Ryan McCann takes a strike. 2 for 7 in the series. 2 for 13 on the homestand. Typically, John, when runners do get aboard against Jamie Moyer, the game almost comes to a halt. It's like you hit the slow-mo on your remote at home. One and 2 the count.
He doesn't quite hang when he's out of the stretch, but he gives you a feeling like at any moment he's coming over to first. And if you don't think he's not a pretty good athlete, he will field his position, get to first base, cover the bag. He won't show that he's 47 in any of those categories.
Got Brian. 2 and 2. Humped up on that one, 83 miles an hour. Out of Sellersville, Pennsylvania. He was a 6th-round draft pick by the Cubs in 1984 out of St. Joseph's.
Fight.
76 on that pitch. Full count. Chipper will run with the pitch.
That was a Glavine special. Inside changeup to a left-hander. Rarely did you see it before these guys started doing it. Becomes a very effective pitch. Usually they pull it foul.
Big chopper to first. Howard will take it himself, and that will end the inning. The Braves get a hit but strand a runner. We've played 1 inning. Phillies lead it 2-0. Time to take a look at the SunTrust Solid Performance, brought to you by SunTrust. Live solid, bank solid. And tonight's subject will be batting support, run support for the pitchers. And the National League leaders, Derek Lowe at the top of the heap, an average of 10.67 runs of support when he's in there.
I don't like that stat, Joe.
Why?
Well, I don't think it's accurately kept, meaning there's a better way to keep it.
And you can tell me what that
I'll
way is right after Castro sees a pitch.
I think in the category of run support, it should be done just like ERA. So the runs you receive while you're in, that's your run support. Once you leave, you can't control anything that happens, even though you can't control anything that happens while you're in. But that's the category of how it should be kept. I'll give you some examples.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. 1 out, on the ground out. Ruiz the batter.
You're pitching good, tight game, 1-1, 2-1 while you're in there. After 7 innings, you leave. Team scores a 6 spot in the 8th or 3 in the whatever it is. All of a sudden, you got 11 runs added to your run support.
It's 2-1 when you were in there.
And it could work both ways. You could be winning 2-1 and you lose 8-7, and you got 7 runs to your run support. So it should be done like an ERA. There, done.
Carlos Ruiz, 1 for 8 in the series. And 257, but he just added to that. 1 out hit to left. And the 4th hit already for the Phillies. Derek Lowe, in his last 9 starts against the Phillies, has been brilliant against these guys, including his 3 starts last year against Philadelphia when he went 2-0. But off to a rough start tonight. Jamie Moyer, 1 for 3 on the season, hitting .333. With just 5 for 42 last year with the Bills.
You know what I like by what I see right now with Jamie Moyer? I have ultimate respect that he hasn't gone with the uniform trend that everybody seems to be going.
Drops the bunt down, but it's going to trickle foul.
You can see his stirrups. They're not pants, are not underneath the spikes. I like that.
He even shows the Liberty Bell in the socks. The Phillies actually have a Liberty Bell on the side of their socks, if you could see anyone else's.
Yeah, today you'll never know what is in the stirrups of any player because they might not even have socks on. There's a good chance based on the way the pants are today.
Those are some beautiful ankle chokers right there. Gets this one down. McCann will make the play. Good bunt by Moyer. 2 out. Runner in scoring position for Victorino.
And there's what I talked about earlier. That slider that you throw to a pitcher is an easier pitch to put in play. That spin allows you to put the ball down, and that pitch is either going to be down in the dirt. As this slider is coming in with a spin, it deadens it perfect.
Well, not only that, it's got a downward arc to it. So if you just stay on top of the ball, makes it a lot easier to get down. Victorino chased a bad ball, struck out to lead off the game. But then 3 straight singles by Dobbs, Utley, and Howard plated 1 run, and a sacrifice fly by Worth got the other run home. Up the middle, but Prado's there. Quick throw will end the inning. 3 ground ball outs for Derek Lowe that inning. A good sign. We go to the bottom of the 2nd.
take a look at tonight's leaderboard brought to you by the Sunshine House, a tradition of excellence in early education. Jamie Moyer tops the active players in wins, 259. Andy Pettit, Tim Wakefield, Levon Hernandez, and Kevin Millwood.
How many wins did you have?
That's why I cleared my throat. 213. I'm still active. You know, technically, superficially.
So you haven't retired?
Not really. Not totally.
No announcement?
Not officially.
Emotionally?
Emotionally, yeah.
Gloss, Escobar, and Hayward for the Braves in the second. Troy 1 for 8 in the series with a homer. Got robbed of a homer last night by Victorino. And 1 for 15 on the homestand. Great play last night by Victorino. Great timing. And if you missed it, here's that catch.
Dream of every baseball player right here.
Something I saw you do hundreds of times
in
BP practice.
And I made that one right there look like it was 14 feet into the stands. I just jumped higher.
0-2 to Gloss. Troy saw Jamie Moyer a lot in the American League West. When Jamie spent 10 years in Seattle and Troy was with the Angels for so many years. Gloss with 54 career at-bats against him, a .352 average and 5 homers. But 0 for 1 tonight as Moyer gets a little backup on that fastball.
I don't know if this view does us justice. Troy thinks it's inside and low, but across the plate, certainly the umpire thought it was a strike. With that ball going right just below the kneecaps. Nice job by Mr. Ruiz making it look higher than it is.
Yunel Escobar 0 for 7 in the series, 2 for 18 on the homestand. Talked to him a little bit before the game. By the way, his English is really improving. But a lot of frustration for Yunel because he seems to be hitting the ball right at people 3 or 4 times a night. He can't lay off those 2 changeups. 0-2. He is 0 for his last 9. Just now moved up in the box a little bit too. Try to catch that changeup a little earlier.
3 pitches, 3 speeds lower. Each pitch a little bit less, just seeing how far he could bite off. He will at some point go in on Yunel to get that away back open.
There it is. 1-2 the count.
That's all a hitter really needs to know is you're capable of doing that. Put a little doubt in your mind. Is he going to come back in right here, or is he going to go back away to a pitch that he basically was reaching for?
The 2-2 pitch is inside, and now it's full 3-2.
This one will be away. That's what I'm going to say.
Especially since he swung at those 2 earlier in the count. You would think they'd go there. They do, and they get the same result. Back-to-back strikeouts. With 2 out, fans, it's time for the know-how question of the game built by the Home Depot. If you have a question, send us an email, and if chosen, we'll answer it later in the game. Send your email to braves@peachstreettv.com. Please tell us your name, and remember that more saving, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
There's a couple things in the game of pitching that the catcher and pitcher have to be on the same page in.
Jason Hayward takes a strike.
And one is the catcher's job is to see if a hitter's feet are moving closer to the plate, if he's trying to cheat on something to give an insight where he can lock somebody up.
Broke his bat.
And in that last case, it was just prototypical here. Everybody could pretty much guess what was coming, but the hitter still couldn't recognize that pitch to be able to lay off of it. It just phased away from his bat. Took him 6 pitches, but got the strike.
He got beat by Florida in his last start. 5-1. He went 6 innings, just walked 1 and struck out 7. Gave up the 5 runs, but had a good strikeout game. 1-2 to Hayward. Jason 1 for 6 with a homer in this series, 4 for 16 on the homestand. And he gets plunked for the first time in his major league career, but I don't think he'll have to ice it. 74 miles an hour on that one.
Just gets away a little bit. We mentioned almost 4,000 innings in the big leagues, but he had a 54 and 33 minor league record with 725 more innings. So you're looking at 4,600 plus innings in his short little career.
Melky Cabrera offers it the same pitch that Escobar did, 0-1. Now, there's not a whole lot you can throw at Jamie Moyer that he hasn't seen.
No.
Takes the corner on that one, 0-2. Moyer last year, 2 starts against the Braves. He went 1-1, 9 1/3 innings though in 2 starts. Gave up 5 earned runs. He's lifetime 4-9 against them. 1-2 in this ballpark.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh, 0-2 to Cabrera. Line to short, and there's Castro. The Phillies lead the league in defense, and they're certainly positioned well tonight for Jamie Moyer. We've played 2. Recipients of the Big Smile Seat Upgrade, sponsored by Dr. Deborah Gray King and the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry, the place in Atlanta to get a beautiful smile. Heart of the order for the Phillies. Dobbs, Utley, and Howard due up. All 3 of them had singles in the first inning. Brewers had some fun today playing at Pittsburgh. They had a day game at PNC Park. It was 1-0 after 2 innings in favor of Milwaukee, and 4-0 after 3. They went on to win 20-0. Pounded out 25 hits and outscored Pittsburgh in the series 36-1 as they swept them in Pittsburgh.
That's got to be a record.
36-1 in 3 games. And Hal Galima, the statistician to the Stars, tells me that that's the worst loss in Pirate history. As he was in the first inning, Dobbs in the hole 1-2. Deep drive to right center. Hayward on the run. Will have to play this one off the wall, and he plays a perfect carom. But Dobbs will post into second with a double. This guy would be an everyday player for a lot of teams, John, but he's been pretty much their perfect pinch hitter for them, left-handed off the bench for several years.
He really has been. And here's a pitch trying to bury it in. Got too much of the plate. You saw McCann's glove go the wrong way. If anything, you wanted his glove to stay tighter in on the left-hander. And again,
look how he's hanging over the plate, John.
That's why you can probably bury it in there. And I'm sure next time we'll start to cut something in there, a tight slider. But again, it just shows to the average that left-handers are having against Derek early on. It's got to change because that's his money pitch.
That's the second time Dobbs has reached behind in the count 1-2. Utley takes a strike.
See, what you want in a perfect world for Derek is he's got a ball moving away from left-handers. He can throw a backdoor slider, which they'll give up on because they think it's going to be out of the zone as a two-seamer would be, and then be able to front door, what's called a front door sinker, start it at the left-hander, get him to move their derriere back a little bit and get the called strike. He doesn't want him to put that pitch in play. He wants a called third strike.
And it's no harm, no foul, even if you miss in there with the backup.
Correct. And that's the pitch you've got to really stay patient mechanically, because the tendency is to crossfire a little bit. You've really got to stay still and throw it at the point of where you want it not to end up, where you want to start it, because you can trust it's going to end up that 2 to 3 inches of movement.
Tries a backdoor slider to Utley and misses. And the count goes to 2-1. Chase singled and later scored in the first inning. Utley's out of UCLA and a former first-round draft pick for the Phils. 3-1 with Howard on deck.
For a pitcher, everything has to work in sync. Your gloves got to be quiet. Your front shoulders got to be quiet. Your head has to be still. And when things aren't going good, it just seems awkward. Your glove's not in the right position. Your head's kind of jerking to a spot. You're trying to make a pitch happen. And it takes time to get comfortable with all that. We're only in the fourth start. We saw a pitcher that is absolutely in tune with his mechanics last night and has mastered it. Doesn't ever look like he has a bad start. But for a sinker baller and a heavy pitch, these are the things he struggles with from time to time. And once you get it, you see how long you can keep it.
Utley didn't like that last call from Ted Barrett. Had a word with him. Full count. Utley lined a single on a full count his last time up. And takes that breaking ball for ball 4. First walk of the night for Lowe. And Ryan Howard will be the batter. He jumped on the first pitch tonight and singled right center and drove in a run.
I just can't explain to the viewer how incredible the Phillies' patience and their ability to work a count has been already in this series. It just goes to speak about how they're the hardest team to strike out. They've got offensive numbers only second to the Dodgers, and they create a lot of stress for the opposing starting pitcher.
Good hitting coach there, Milt Thompson. He's been with the club for many years. And Howard again goes after the first pitch, but he pops this one up to left. Diaz is under it. And there's the first out of the inning. He had first and third with a run in the first inning with Worth up there. Hoping to get Jason to hit into a double play, but Worth hit a sacrifice fly instead.
Boy, a double play would really help not only his pitch count, get him back in the dugout.
He's at 50 pitches right now.
See if he can get him to try and pull a sinker.
One and 0.
See, even when he's missing too far away from the target. That pitch right there was a good sinker, but it missed the target by a good foot. He's got to hone in, do something mechanically to get him right there to stay so the hitter has something to fear.
Two 2-0 the count. Three 3-0. Derek's first start against the Cubs, 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs. He threw 78 pitches. His second start at San Francisco, 6 innings, 4 hits, only 1 run allowed, but he walked 7. Really pitched out of a lot of trouble. Threw 112 pitches in 6 innings. In his last start, 5 1/3 against the Rockies, 97 pitches. There's a strike, 3-1.
See, right there is a 3-0 pitch. You don't know if he's swinging. That's a perfect pitch. That's where he can stay. You know, a lot of people say, well, just keep throwing it there. Well, it's not that easy. You've got to find a way to get that rhythm that when the ball comes out of your hands, you go, all right, that's exactly where I wanted it.
There's another breaking ball in there for a strike. Full count.
So far, the Phillies have had 3 2-strike hits already in the game. But the problem is a lot of them, he's working his way back into still an aggressive count. It's not been 1-2-0-2 where he's got to 3-2. He's been battling his way back, and they've seen a lot of pitches.
Runner's not going, and he missed inside. Second walk of the inning, and they're loaded for Ibanez, who lined out his first time up. No action in the Braves bullpen, just a reminder visit.
Well, you know, Roger, this is the type of pitcher he was. If there's anything that Roger's been able to bring to a staff that we never had before, is the ability to throw sinkers, the ability to trust an area and what to do with it, how to set up a hitter with a sinker. And, you know, Derek's been doing this a long time. This is just a product of finding yourself and finding that rhythm that hasn't existed so far. He's 3-0. But right here is this is where he's got to develop it really quick and get that double play.
Ibanez hit the ball hard his first time up, but lined out to Prado to end the first. And outstanding numbers with the bases loaded. Need a ground ball here. Ibanez, not a speedster. You could double him up. 1-1. Phillies made a move today. We told you at the beginning of the series that Jay Happ was going to miss a start. Phillies have decided to put him on the disabled list as of his last start. And left-handed reliever J.C. Romero has been activated. He'll be available tonight in the pen. 1-1 off the plate. Two to nothing Phillies. We're in the third, and they're threatening for more. In the air and down the left field line, deep, but slicing just foul. That was close. Down by the Phillies bullpen.
That almost added to an impressive stat. 2009, 2010 Phillies 12, opponents 0. That would be grand slams.
Wow. For the last year plus. Two and two. So that dropped the bottom out of its sinker here. But it was up enough that Ibanez could fight it off.
I haven't seen enough of Derek Lowe up close mechanically to make a safe assessment, but it looks like that shoulder sometimes raises up, gets up near his chin, seems to be not cutting himself off, but allowing that sinker to rise versus that shoulder going down almost as a trigger point. The sinker goes down.
It's not throwing downhill.
It just seems like it squares up just a little bit. There's a good one there.
Might be two. Prado throws it wild to Escobar, and he can't come up with it. 2 runs will score instead of getting 2 outs. These two guys are out early every day taking ground balls and feeding each other double play balls. And on what looked like the most routine of ground balls, Martin threw one wild.
This play right here just wasn't in rhythm to where he was getting ready to turn the double play. Probably would have liked the ball a little bit more to his glove side. Had to reach a little too far, and then of course, I know you can't assume a double play in the scorebook, but that definitely was a double play.
It was almost written down as such. It would be an error on Prado. I think might have been the most surprised guy in the ballpark because he typically gets such good feeds from Martin, but that really hurts and extends the inning. Castro grounded out his first time, and he shoots one into right field, and that'll deliver another run. Ibanez will stop at second. And all of a sudden, it's 5-0. Give Castro his 7th RBI.
This is how you got to hit a sinker. You got to go the other way, and he did. It's a harder double play to turn, even if you hit it at the second baseman. He's got to turn and throw to short. So Phillies are doing everything they have to do to give support to their crafty lefty, and Braves are not.
Carlos Ruiz lined a single to left his first time up. His pitch count up to 64. And no one throwing in the Atlanta pen. And Derek has worked up a pretty good lather here on a very pleasant evening. One and one. Pretty good slider there. 1-2. Ruiz was just 1 for 8 against Lowe in his career coming into this game before his base hit last inning. Both walks issued this inning have come around to score. Got him looking. Ruiz surprised at the call, but Ted Barrett rings him up. Second strikeout for Lowe.
You know, when you're facing a team in the third game of a series, you look at this, stays real good, comes back over the plate, sinker. The challenge is you're watching 2 previous right-handed teammates attack the Phillies lineup, but they're doing it with different ways. But you do have that luxury of seeing the hitters over and over and over again to look at them in a way to say, okay, I stay away from this area, try to get the ball in this area. Whereas Jamie Moyer, total opposite. He didn't have any left-handers to go off of. He's just facing them the way he normally would.
And he's the batter, and he's behind 0-2. Well, you've talked this whole series about the dangerous left-handed hitters in their lineup, and the Phillies are second in the National League to the Dodgers in batting average against right-handed pitchers at .283 coming in. Chopper to second. Prado makes the play, but a couple of unearned runs across the plate this inning, 3 in total. The Phillies have taken a 5-0 lead. As we go to the bottom of the third, and fans, it's time for the Airtran Airways home run inning, where Sachi from Atlanta, Georgia, will have a chance to win free airfare for 2 if the Braves hit a home run during this third inning. Visit PeachtreeTV.com/contests for official rules and to enter for a chance to win. Airtran Airways, go. There's nothing stopping you.
You know, Joe, you talked about Philadelphia in the previous inning and what they've been able to do. Well, the Braves, unfortunately, are second to the last team batting average, .227. Only Houston is worse, and the disparity, it's unbelievable between the two of them. 18 walks is all Houston has as a team, compared to 69 as the Braves. I think Mr. Wright over with the Mets has more walks by himself than the entire Houston team.
Wow. Braves will see Houston here in Atlanta for a brief 3-game homestand when they come back from this upcoming road trip. Derek Lowe leads off the third and finds the count 2-0. There's a strike. 19 games in the next 20 days for the Braves, and 16 of those are on the road. Tough stretch of the schedule. 3 hopper to Utley. 1 out.
Braves baseball on Peachtree TV and HD is brought to you by BB&T. Best bank in town since 1872.
Back to the top of the order, and Matt Diaz. He lined to right his first time up. Hit the ball sharply, but Jason Worth made a great catch, diving and rolling in right field. That looks like he's got one of those sponges on his right thumb, kind of protect him against getting jammed, but you're hoping not to get jammed by Jamie Moyer.
If anybody sitting at home thinks they can get a bat and go face Jamie Moyer, you got another thing coming. It's not as easy as it may look. He just spots and cuts and takes things off and feeds off the aggressiveness and the ego of the hitter. If the hitter's trying to look to pull and yank, he's going to make you look bad. If you give up of yourself and go the other way, you got a chance.
Down the line, but slicing foul.
Come on, Jake.
Moyer went 12-10 last year for the Phillies after going 16-7 in 2008. And he pitched poorly enough to not even appear in the postseason for them.
Well, he was asked to go to the bullpen, wasn't happy about it, but did it. And then, as you said, didn't get a chance to compete in the postseason.
2-2. Still 2-2. Right at Charlie Manuel. Talking to Charlie Manuel before the game, he had nothing but nice things to say about what he has seen of Jason Hayward. Talking about what a good-looking player he is, good-looking hitter, and like most opposing managers, raving about his patience at the plate. One of Jamie Moyer's teammates, when he broke in '86 with the Cubs, is sitting in the booth up here just a few booths down from us. Gary Matthews was in left field for him. Gary Matthews also talking about what a good-looking player Jason Hayward is. There's Sarge.
Davey Lopes had something to do with his first game as well.
Yeah, Davey's his first base coach. And was, I think, his second baseman that day. Third baseman, I beg your pardon. Full count now to Diaz. There's Davey. Payoff pitch to short. Castro's played a great game defensively, great series defensively, as have all the Phillies. And he throws him out, 2 down. The error by Prado in the top half of the inning, the first error in this series by either team. The Phillies, in fact, speaking of their defense, the Phillies have not made an error in their last 5 games, plus 2 2/3 innings. And there is the fielding percentage in the National League. They're tops with just 6 errors as a group. Prado takes a strike.
Their only Achilles right now, besides some injuries that they got to get healthy, and they're right back to where they want to be, is, shoring up the bullpen. We saw the hiccup the first game, but you're seeing now 20-some scoreless innings from starting pitchers, and they're missing a couple. So if you're a Phillies fan, you're not sweating it right now early on, knowing you're tied for a first game or game lead at first, and you're doing it without some key components.
Yeah, Joe Blanton's on the disabled list as well as Jay Happ. Blanton was to begin a rehab assignment last night, so he's within a couple of weeks of being ready to go. He had a strained oblique muscle.
It's become a popular injury in the last 3 or 4 years.
We never had those back in the old days.
No, it's hard to pull fat, though. You got to have a little bit of it. To get too lean, you're going to have those oblique injuries.
Is that what it is?
Well,
we call them rib cage strains, even if they weren't the rib cage. That's down the line. Prado snaps out of an 0 for 7 with a solid double to left. And the hot swinging Chipper Jones will be the batter. Double number 6 for Martin.
Good balance, stayed inside of I'm not going to call it a hard cutter, but it was a cutter.
Chipper singled in the first inning.
There's probably, I'd say most pitchers on both staff have a hard time throwing an off-speed pitch, the velocity of his fastball.
Yeah.
He's pitching in the big leagues for a long time doing it.
Well, think about Saturday night. Ubaldo Jimenez was throwing 97, 98 with regularity, and his off-speed pitch was about 88.
Yeah.
Jamie Moyer would give anything to be able to throw 88. To third, Dobbs scoops it up. And with Martin Prado standing right there in his sights, he fires to first for the out. And the Braves leave another runner in scoring position. This has been the Airtran Airways home run inning of the game. Be sure to register at PeachTreeTV.com/contest.
Toyota moving forward. How many Braves on the active roster were not born when Jamie Moyer made his Major League debut with the Cubs on June 16, 1986? Whew. I know a few already.
Yeah. So those guys are not yet 24 years old. So anybody 23 and younger, and there's a few of those.
Yes, there are.
Top of the order. Shane Victorino is third at bat, and this is the fourth inning. Drops a bunt down. Pretty good one. Chipper in. Over to first. Got him. What a play. Wow. Davey Lopes didn't think so. And he's got a word for Angel Campos, first base umpire. But what a good play by Chipper.
I tell you, nobody does it better. I've seen him do this for so long, and called him out, though.
Umpire said he was out. Thank you very much.
The Chipper does this as good as anybody.
Good stretch by Gloss. Big target for Chipper over there, and the Braves caught a break, it appeared.
There's only one time I didn't see Chipper make this play. One time.
Let me guess, you were pitching.
Yeah. And Glavine was hitting.
Oh, he was?
Yeah. He had a little swinging butt down the line that I wanted to get so bad. I ran right in front of Chipper, fielded it, threw him out at home or at first, and I was in the third base batter's box, coach's box by the time I was done.
It's funny how you only remember that stuff when you're pitching. In the air to center. Dobbs is 2 for 2 tonight, but retired here, 2 down. We highlighted their starting pitching at the beginning of the ball game tonight, John, and Jamie Moyer continuing this stretch of games for the Phillies. It's outstanding. 17 innings coming into tonight. They've made it 20 now, 20 shutout innings by their starters against Braves hitters. And it's actually dating back a few games. It's now up to 33 innings where they've allowed only 2 earned runs. And as you mentioned, 2 guys missing. Going 1 to Utley.
They've definitely bought into a game plan and they're executing it. I mean, there's a philosophy that when you're facing a lineup, you go over it, you try to execute it, and hope to not have to make too many in-game adjustments because you're given all kinds of scouting reports on the games that have been played thus far and last year, and then you're looking at video. So they've got a great game plan, and they're executing, and they're keeping the Braves really frustrated from creating any momentum, with the exception of 4 swings in the 9th and 10th inning.
Yep. In the air to left. Diaz gives some ground and shy of the track. He makes the catch, and there's the first 1-2-3 inning for Derek Lowe, and boy, he needed that. They go to the bottom of the 4th. Braves down by 5.
Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Time for the Braves to put their hitting shoes on. Only 2 hits so far against Jamie Moyer, and they trail 5-0. Brian McCann starts the 4th by taking a strike. Kind of odd for Jamie Moyer in that in his first 2 starts, there were only 3 official at bats against him from left-handed hitters, and they were 0 for 3. So for the year, all year long, left-handers have not gotten a hit off Jamie Moyer.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that unwritten book does a little more damage sometimes than they say, put as many right-handers you can against Tom Glavine. Well, you're just feeding what he likes to do. And I'm sure the same could be said for Jamie Moyer. It takes away somewhat of his strengths, the changeup, the sinker. So he only had to face 3. Got him out.
And got Brian McCann to ground out in the first inning, so they're 0 for 4. Hayward was hit by a pitch.
If I know the Braves dugout, at some point somebody's going to go by the bat rack and rattle all the bats, because something's got to give, and they're all anxious to try and get something going.
To first, and Howard will take that one to the bag himself. 1 out.
Here's tonight's Toyota trivia question. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota moving forward. How many Braves on the active rosters were not born when Jamie Moyer made his major league debut with the Cubs on June 16, 1986? And the answer is?
I'm going to say 4. Oh. I was thinking Chris Medlin.
Yeah, I'd have put him in there too.
Chris Medlin and even Jair Jurgens.
Yeah.
Not so. Troy Gloss to third on the first pitch. An easy out, 2 down. By retiring Brian McCann to start the inning, here's another key stat for a guy who doesn't record a lot of strikeouts. All 4 leadoff men have been retired tonight. And so far on the year, that's 15 out of 16 innings that he's gotten a leadoff guy.
That's pretty good.
That'll cut into some long innings. Yunel Escobar struck out his first time.
I'm going to shift gears on you real quick.
Okay.
Your boy from Oklahoma went #1.
Sam Bradford.
The Rams. I know all our Braves fans are watching this telecast. They're missing. So we're getting a little bit in there.
You better have a lot of padding playing for the Rams. He's a great kid. 1-1. Strike call, 1-2. Let's talk. The Falcons might take a guy from Oklahoma. If Jermaine Gresham, the tight end, is available, they might take him.
I know the Lions didn't go with a wide receiver this year. They went with the guy out of Nebraska, the super defensive.
Yeah, Sue.
S-U-H.
2-2 to Yunel.
Braves are only 1 for 8 with 2 strikes tonight. Shows the importance of getting ahead and trying to guess along with a guy who's been doing this for a long time.
He just shook off about 3 signs. And worked a tumbling breaking ball in there for a full count at 69 miles an hour. And jammed him with a breaking ball there. Or I should say Yunel jammed himself, and he pops up to Utley, and the Braves go in order again. We've played 4, all Phillies so far. Joe Simpson, John Smoltz back with you at Turner Field, where the Braves trail 5-0. And here in the 5th, Ryan Howard will lead off for the Phillies. He's 1 for 2 with a single and an RBI. Interesting story written about Ryan Howard today by Tom Verducci of SI.com about how many breaking balls Ryan Howard has begun to see in his career. As an example, last year the percentage of breaking balls that most hitters saw was about 25%. And for Ryan Howard, it's about 40%. And his difficulty in hitting breaking balls has gotten progressively worse. Something to take note of. There. 1-2.
Well, the league's got to find out something. And like any good hitter, and over a period of time, he will learn to make the adjustment to change those scouting reports.
Braves have their shift on for him. Leading off the fifth. Right at Prado in shallow right field. Howard retired. His last 4 seasons, folks, these are home runs and RBIs. 58 and 149, both led the league. 47 and 136. In 2008, 48 and 146, both of those led the league. And in 2009, 45 and 141, he hit 279. He was a 2006 MVP when he hit 313 with those 58 homers. Jason Worth has delivered a sacrifice fly. He's walked and scored a run. Two and one the count.
These kind of games right here, I know we're on the bad side of a 5-0 deficit, but these are the innings that Derek Lowe has to continuously work to make improvements, because he's going to build on these innings towards his next start. It just can't be wasted innings. It can't be going through the motions. This is the time. You know, you don't ever want to give up a run, but if you've given up some runs, we didn't help him that one inning to add to some of those. Putting up zeros before Bobby says, okay, I'm taking you out of the games, is very important to lead towards his next start.
That's a good point. Not to just go out there and throw pitches, but work on some stuff. And he's retired the last 6 in a row. 2-2 to Worth. Little one-hander to short. Worth was fooled there. 7 in a row set down. Raul Ibanez hit the ground ball that looked like would be a double play to get Lowe out of a bases loaded 1-out jam, but it didn't turn out that way. A high throw from Prado. But Escobar wasn't anticipating, certainly, and had it go off the top of his glove.
When you work together all spring and early on in the season, you're accustomed to certain deliveries. You get used to what each guy's going to do, and right there was a little uncharacteristic ball, kind of sailed. And as the shortstop comes across the bag, you got to be prepared, though, to get an out, to stop the ball, to make sure that if nothing else, you get 1 out.
Well, here's something I want to show, and we go back and show that replay again, is that anticipating a bad throw means that you kind of collect yourself around the bag. That's out of play. So you're coming around, almost coming to the bag, getting ready to get your feet set to make a throw to first. But when Escobar took that throw, he was running across the bag, almost like he was late getting there.
That, and he wanted to receive the ball real quick and make a throw real quick to turn this ball instead of...
He was not squaring himself up, getting ready for that turn. He was in a hurry across the bag.
Ball was hit awfully hard, makes the pivot. Looks like he delivers it with enough time to make the adjustment. He just didn't get the ball in the glove. Didn't squeeze it.
1-2 to Ibanez with 2 out. Did he go? No.
You know, for people at home, they don't understand as well. They have the smallest gloves on the team. They're used to that ball being in that glove for less than a second. So it hits the gloves. They're making the transition. They're getting it out real quick. And so for that, you don't want that ball to get stuck. You don't want to be able to dig for something. So you have less room for a little bit of error if you take your eye off it at all and you don't, as you said, be prepared for a throw because you've got to get an out.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Unell thought even with the bad throw, it may have taken him out of a position to turn a double play, but I'm sure he thought he was still going to catch the ball and didn't. Ibanez putting up a fight here. Still 2-2, and pitch count for Derek Lowe up to 94.
And as the pitches have gone up, the pitch count, his pitches have actually been more crisp. The miles per hour hasn't changed, but the crispness and the effectiveness of the break has changed. Results, 6, 7, 8 in a row, however many he's gotten out. And this is what we're used to seeing.
And a beautiful backdoor slider there puts Ibanez away. Third strikeout for Derek, and he's retired 8 in a row, but needs some bats to get hot.
On Peachtree TV.
Well, what do you think, John?
I think we got to shake it up. And here's how we shake it up.
Okay, I'm ready.
Have you ever been to the Moon Cafe?
No.
Well, it's actually a restaurant on the moon.
Oh.
I've been there.
Okay.
Food's outstanding, but there's not much atmosphere. We're going to score a run this inning just because of that.
Okay. You know what? If that's what it takes, I can listen to any of those if it just gets some runs. We'll call that the rally joke.
It is. It's going to happen. We got to break up the statistic that I hope to share with you here in a little bit.
Okay, we've got to get some leadoff guys on first. As I said, for the season, 15 out of 16 leadoff men retired by Jamie Moyer.
Here's the statistic. 117-0 with 8 no decisions when given 5+ runs as a starter.
That's incredible. In the air to right center, but not very deep. Worth wants it, but Victorino calls him off. 1 out. Another leadoff man retired. 117-0.
That's hard to believe.
That's ridiculous. Well, tonight's the night. He can't go into retirement with that kind of number. And he's only signed through this year.
Yeah.
Melky Cabrera lined to short his first time, takes ball one. Phillies with a lot of early games on the road have gone 6-2 on the road so far.
Here we go. This is going to start it.
Okay. You got something for me?
Well, 3-0 count. This is going to get us going. We're going to get a runner on right here.
Jamie just had a little talk with himself back behind the mound, reminding himself that he's 117-0 with 5 runs to work with. But missed high. And a pinch hitter coming to the plate. Omar Infante will hit for Derek Lowe. So if nothing else, you're saying a bit of a moral victory for Derek in that he set down the last 8 in a row and was finding some things.
I don't care how many years you pitched in the game. You've got to find something positive within each game. Otherwise, you just tear yourself up every single time. So you pick a stretch where you look and go, this is what I did well. This is what I'm going to continue in my next game.
Omar Infante has found it hard to get at bats since Chipper came back into the lineup. 4 for 17 on the year. Chipper missed those 3 games in San Francisco, you might remember.
Now we showed you the good stat. Here's a statistic that's interesting. Most home runs allowed in Major League history. Robin Roberts, 505. Jamie Moyer, 494.
Okay.
That's an impressive statistic to pitch that long and give up that many home runs. You're doing something well.
You know it. If we get him up to 500 tonight, I'd like to raise chances.
I like the way you're thinking.
Two and one to the pinch hitter. One out, runner at first. Braves down by 5. Infante lays off a sinker away, and the count 3-1. Top of the order, and Matt Diaz on deck. Sinker missed low, and back-to-back walks. How about that? Moyer wanted that pitch, but Ted Barrett said it was too low. So the Braves with something cooking here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, he couldn't have wanted that too bad.
No. Ruiz tried, but can't frame that one.
I like Matty right here. Try and split the outfielders, go the other way. See if we get a little action on the bases.
Got good speed out there, Cabrera and Infante. But might be 2. Oh, and the Phillies boot one. And Cabrera's coming to the plate before Utley can retrieve it. And Atlanta's on the board on the first error by the Phillies in the series.
I'm telling you, Joe. Moon Cafe threw everybody out of balance.
I'm in.
This was a
Castro a little nonchalant there.
He tried to make it way too quick. Both tried to be too quick. Quick flip, quick turn. I'm glad the umpire waited to make that call.
You know what? That wasn't a bad toss from Castro. It was a little nonchalant, but it was a good toss, and Utley should have caught it. Might be an E4, and it is. Still only 1 out. Runners at first and second with a run in. Prado singled. In fact, he doubled his last time up. 2 walks and an error. I'll take that attack right now.
Yeah, we got to get this ball to the warning track. Got to be chasing it.
Lays off a tough pitch, 1-1. Terry Pendleton was talking about Martin Prado before last night's game, and see the lack of hitting in this situation for Atlanta in this series. And that's hard hit. Oh, what a stop by Castro. They get one, and now Utley throws the ball away after a hard slide by Diaz, and a run will score. Matty Diaz took out Utley and forced a bad throw that plates another run. What a play by Castro, though.
Sharply hit. Matty comes in hard. Good clean slide. Allows the Braves to keep this inning going. It's those little things you can't take for granted as he comes in and just alters Utley's decision. Good job.
5-2. And Chipper will bat with 2 out. Getting back to Prado real quick, Terry Pendleton's comment about Martin, he said it's coming with respect to Martin's confidence in himself. He said, well, we can get this guy believing that he can be a terrific player. He said the sky's the limit for him. Hard hit, but right at Dobbs. Chipper was all over it, but lines into it, inning out. Braves put 2 on the board with a little help from the Phillies. We go to the 6th.
Five to 2. Get your tickets now for the #1 post-game fireworks show in the Southeast. Publix Friday night fireworks will take place after every Braves Friday home game. The next Braves Friday home game is April 30th versus the Houston Astros. For tickets, visit Braves.com/tickets or call 1-800-745-3000.
Well done. Those explosions reminded me of a lot of games that you pitched. Chris Medlin on the pitch for Atlanta. He's been doing a real good job in middle relief. 2.89 ERA, just 1 walk and 10 strikeouts. His 7th game. And his job, much like what Derek Lowe did the last 2+ innings, is just hold the Phillies right there. Lowe finished the ball game retiring the last 8 in a row. He went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 earned, walked 2, struck out 3. Bottom third of the order, Castro leads off. And this inning's pitching speed is brought to you by Bayer Advanced. Better science, better results. Castro 1 for 2 tonight. He made a couple of pretty good defensive plays there just a minute ago, especially that diving stop on a shot hit by Prado.
It's just hard to believe that you could be in the third game of a series, top of the sixth, and the Braves don't have an earned run off of the Phillies starting pitching yet. Just hard to believe.
I think it's, I don't know if it's just sheer coincidence or not, but having Moyer follow Halladay is a pretty good idea. You got a guy throwing 93, 92 and hard stuff, sliders, sinkers, cutters, and then you got a guy coming out there throwing 79 and 80. You got to really back the throttle off as a hitter. I know there's a 24-hour difference, but not in your reaction time as a hitter when you seeing the ball out of a pitcher's hand. It's quite a drastic change. Three and 2 after being ahead 0-2. To center. Will it stay up long enough for Melky? No. Second hit of the night for Castro, and they've got their leadoff man aboard. John, the Atlanta bullpen, their last 7 games have been really good. 23 plus innings, only 2 runs allowed, a lot of strikeouts.
Listen, everybody knows that this team's going to be able to pitch. And the question is going to be, can they hit enough to match up with their pitching? So far, they have not been able to do that. It's early. But coming off of last year's campaign where they really pitched in a dominant fashion. A lot of these guys like Medlin got a year under his belt. They've really got a good mix and match bullpen, what I call some real quality left-handers. Not specialists, left-handers that are going to go in there and get right-handed hitters out as well. And then, of course, the ultimate power left-hander coming out at the end with some good right-hand. I mean, just a good blend for a team that is going to compete. They're going to have to do some of the little things to score a little bit more efficiently to complement their pitching.
Ruiz takes high, ball 2. Chris Medlin, maybe out of respect for Jamie Moyer's got some stirrups working tonight. Some ankle chokers.
I like it. Again, I like it.
And he's got quick feet and a quick move and holding Castro close.
I'm looking for the first injury in baseball where the guy trips over his pants. It's going to happen.
Or his pajamas, as is the case with some of the guys. There's a strike, 2-1. Medlin can rush it up there in the low 90s. There you go. He's almost got cuffs in his.
I'm telling you, there's guys that have their spike through the bottom of their pants.
Threw that one right by him. 2-2.
Did you have any 2-1s when you were playing those socks? You know, with
the built-in.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have those. We just had the sanitary socks and the stirrups.
I liked them. I know I got made fun of.
They were comfortable.
They were. Got made fun of a lot. Maddox got made fun of a lot.
Yeah, but they still look like stirrups.
Yeah.
They old school.
You know, there is a rule. Each club usually imposes the rule what you're supposed to see underneath the pant leg, but
to center again, and that will get down for a hit. Castro rounds second, but he'll hold there. And Moyer takes a look back at Charlie Manuel, but he's going to hit for himself here. And he'll be asked to move the runners up. 2 on, nobody out against Medlin.
And he will be bunting this ball down the third base line, more than likely.
Well, don't do him a favor and throw him something off speed.
No.
Pound him with that good fastball, and maybe he'll bunt one right back to the mound.
If you can get a couple strikes, elevate the ball. which allows him to pop it up in the air.
That'd be outstanding.
Here's where the pitcher and third baseman got to read this play better than anybody to determine whether or not they can get him back at third where he bunts it.
1-0. Escobar bird dogging Castro at second, trying to prevent a big lead. It's a situation here with the pitcher bunting where you're almost certain he's bunting. You could put on a play, put on the wheel play perhaps. Two and 0. Got him to throw him a strike though.
Get the out. Make him put it in play, get the out. Some pitchers who could handle the bat a little bit, they might take a play, a shot right here at a swing, but he's going to be bunting.
And bunts it foul. That fastball at 91. And you take the out here that they're trying to give you, even if it's successful and puts runners at second and third. Victorino is only 1 for 13 in this series. The Braves have really pitched him tough. And the Braves have some more activity in their bullpen. They've got Eric O'Flaherty loosening up. He would be ready to come in and pitch to Dobbs if necessary. But now it's 3-1. Two singles to start the sixth here for the Fightin' Phils. Moylan still bunting. Here's the 3-1. And he walked him. An inexcusable walk. Only the second Medlin has issued this year. Something that plagued him at times last year, but only one walk in his first 6 games coming in.
Been really good so far, you know, mechanically sound, coming in, throwing hard two-seamers that are moving, following up with a really good changeup, and he's just missing arm side, which means his release point is not exactly where he wants it to be. He's missing wide or missing and pulling the ball in to make the adjustment.
Infield in. Victorino tonight is struck out. Grounded to second, grounded to third, 1 for 13 in the series. And Medlin falls behind him. Good numbers for Victorino with the sacks full. In the air to left, Diaz has to give ground. Should be deep enough to score a run, and it will be. Runners hold at first and second, but Castro scores. And the Phillies get one of those runs back, and it's 6-2. Give Victorino his 12th RBI of the year. Now, John, you're in a situation, bases loaded, nobody out. You give up one run. If you can get out of the inning with just one scoring, that's pretty good work.
Yeah, they're going to bring in the left-hander to try and do that, accomplish that. I wonder how many times Bobby's actually done this, gone to the mound.
In 29 years, a few times.
Yeah.
That's not his original pair of spikes. He's gone through a few pair of spikes to get there. This call to the bullpen.
Lifeline Animal Project that you can take home for adoption. I know there's a lot of people out there with some wonderful homes for these pets. Now listen, you can also come out to Turner Field on Sunday, May 2nd for Bark at the Park. All you got to do is register for this event, and you can take one of these wonderful animals home too. For more information, just go to atlantapets.org.
Phillies have added a run to their lead. It's 6-2 here in the top of the 6th inning. And the Braves will go to the bullpen again, and Eric O'Flaherty will come in, make his 8th appearance. Eric was brought in to pitch to Greg Dobbs, and Eric's been outstanding against lefties this year. They're hitting only .083, but Charlie Manuel will counter with one of his utility infielders. Wilson Valdez will hit. Valdez played here last night, pinch hit, and went 0 for 1. Finished the game up for Polanco. First and second, 1 out, 1 in. To short, Escobar. To Prado for 1. Relay to first. Dug out, but not in time. Gloss thought they had him, and he's barking at Campos. And Bobby Cox wants timeout. Gets it. And the fans on their feet in support of Bobby Cox. So runners at the corners with 2 out for Utley.
Hard play when the ball's scooped for an umpire to determine. It looks like he made the right call.
Martine's throw was a little bit of a sinker. Again, lefty's not doing much against O'Flaherty, but this is no ordinary left-hander. Utley hitting .313 with 3 of his homers against left-handers this year. Takes a strike. That's Ruiz at third. Valdez at first. Fastball that missed. Left-handed hitters only have 4 extra base hits against Eric O'Flaherty in their last 119 at bats. Two out here. Eric would take it out from this guy any way he could get it. Breaking ball missed. Is there anybody in this lineup you would least rather face than this guy?
It's tough to pick between this guy and the next one. At least Howard has shown the capability of striking out and going after some pitches. Utley just makes it awful difficult.
And late off that pitch, kind of actually gave up on that early. Looking for a fastball, didn't get it, and just kind of slumped his shoulders and took ball 3. Hitters count. Breaking ball missed, ball 4. And they're loaded for Ryan Howard, who's been very aggressive early in the count tonight. At least he was against Derek Lowe. Singled on the first pitch he saw in the first. Flied out on the first pitch he saw in the third. Grounded out in the 5th. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI.
And if you're pitching against these two guys, you're trying to guess as a pitcher, when can I get a free strike? When are they looking for something that I could actually get a fastball for a strike? And it's hard to feel comfortable that you're going to be able to do that. So if you think he's aggressive, you got to start him off with a slider.
They did. Good call, John. 8 grand slams, as you saw there, for Ryan Howard already in his career. absolutely cannot give up any more runs. Down by 4. Another breaking ball missed. Phillies made 2 errors in the bottom of the 5th inning to help the Braves out. Atlanta scored 2 unearned runs without benefit of a hit. Nice pitch. Tied him up inside, 1-2. 93 on that fastball from Merrick.
Looked like the bottom dropped out of that one. Of course, an aggressive pitch down gives you a little bit more of an advantage, lefty on lefty. In this case, because he's such an aggressive hitter looking to drive the ball.
Slider pulled, just foul. McCann wanted that one away, and I don't think they got that one out there where they wanted it. They got away with it. Pete McCannon to the right of Charlie Manuel, his bench coach, former Major League infielder, and was an interim manager for a time with the Cincinnati Reds and did a good job. Replacing Jerry Narron.
Either go lower than low on a slider right here, or you go to that fastball, try to get him guessing. There it is.
Lower than low is right. Good sequence there from Eric O'Flaherty. He leaves them loaded, but the Phillies get a run back. Again, let's take a look at the Braves' upcoming schedule, brought to you by AirTran Airways. Go, there's nothing stopping you, and the Braves will be doing just that. They'll be going to New York tonight to begin a 3-game series tomorrow night at Citi Field. First 2 games on Sports South. Night game, day game, ESPN National game on Sunday. Then the Braves travel to St. Louis after that late start on Sunday. 4-game series at New Busch Stadium. And we'll have the first 3 games for you right here on Peachtree TV, and that day game on Thursday on Sports South. Hope you'll make your plans to be with us. Wilson Valdez stays in the game to play third. And Brian McCann leads off the 6th. Grounder up the middle, base hit. And a rare leadoff man on against Jamie Moyer, only the 2nd one of the year. First hit by a left-hander this year against him.
That's some action in the Phillies bullpen. Looks like Danny Baez, former Brave.
They should be well rested. Yes, they should. Troy Gloss is struck out, grounded out.
Speaking of well rested, I hope our ex-teammate and now, part-time broadcaster Tom Glavin is well rested tonight.
Yeah, he's a partner of mine too.
Yeah. He needs to get his sleep tonight. He's got a big day ahead of him tomorrow.
I don't think he talks near as much trash about you as you do about him.
Well, just get him going. Like a wind-up doll. Just get him going. Break the ice with him.
Big day tomorrow, huh? Got a golf,
big day.
Big golf
I
event?
should have used my head. I should have jumped on this charter to go. I'm actually going to be in New York tomorrow with Tommy.
Oh.
Yeah. We got a chance to
foul. It is. It's a foul ball. That helps.
Got a little friendly golf match, doing something for charity tomorrow with Donald Trump.
Well, this is the Golf Channel thing?
Yep. Yeah, where he has two players go head-to-head. Match up their golf strengths.
Well, now, what's your index? No, to be true.
Is this going? How far is this coverage going?
Oh, just across the street mostly.
All right, if it's just across the street, it's a +2. But if there's people outside of the state that are listening, it's a 3.
Okay.
3 handicap.
I'm just wondering if Glavin's getting strokes. I'm working hard for you, Tom. 2-1 to Gloss. Lays off a change-up. That was maybe a fastball. 3-1 the count. Maybe he'll elevate one here. A good one to hit there, but Val tipped it 3-2. Would you venture to say that there's some batting practice pitchers that throw harder than Jamie Moyer?
There's no doubt. If you could get our good friend Bobby Dews to throw left-handed, it'd be a good opportunity to test it out for the Braves.
Oh my, Gloss knew it. The old backup fastball. Heated it up at 82. What a pitch. Some other scores we told you about. The Brewers, 20 runs on 25 hits. Edmonds had himself a big day. Prince Fielder also hit his first homer. Colorado shut out Washington 2-0. The Nationals have been a hot team. Mets leading the Cubs in the 6th. Dodgers on top of the Reds at Great American Ballpark in the 7th. They break up the Padres. They've won 6 in a row. Here's Escobar. Shows bunt and takes a strike. What a pitch to Gloss. Third strikeout tonight for Moyer. And again, Troy's had excellent numbers against Moyer in his career.
Come on, escape.
You're hanging out as a hitter. You're hanging over that outside half the plate, trying to cover that because of all that off-speed stuff and sinking pitch. So, as Unell did his last time up, then you wind up jamming yourself because the fastball that comes in there has enough on it to do just that. That one was 74, but you're your own worst enemy when that happens.
You got to make a decision sometimes. You're either going to tip your hat to a pitcher who can make 3 of the same pitches in an area where you don't want it because you want to try to control and take away one part of the plate because he's working both parts of the plate. And right there, 3-2, that was the last pitch to Troy that he thought he was going to throw.
To deep center, Victorino on his horse. Off the top of his glove, he can't catch it. And Escobar's got himself a double. He scorched that one, and Victorino almost tracked it down. Second and third, 1 out.
This guy's been making every play, it seems like, against the Braves and almost makes another great one. Just off the tip of his glove.
Braves might have finally caught a break against the Phillies defense the last 2 innings. Jason Hayward hit by a pitch in the second, flied to center in the fifth. Base hit. Might make it a 2-run game. Much tougher out in these spots. Lays off an old tantalizer there, 2-0.
It's been so rough for the Braves the last 3 games. You know, we're only in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah.
So you scratch and crawl in a couple runs right here. Feel like you got another good chance at it.
Philly's willing to give up a run for an out. Infield's back. The 2-0. Dropped down. Jason didn't offer.
You know, we haven't talked about it much because there hasn't been many runners on second base, but Jamie Moyer doesn't give the traditional signals. There's no fingers, it's touches. Inside, left side, up. And what he's trying to do is not give away any signs so they can be relayed. So it's a strategy that him and the catcher employ. When you look here, he's just going to do a series of touches. That means something that only those two know about.
3-1. Beautiful pitch. Pinpoint control, full count. Going outside. Foul back. It's just so hard to wait, especially in RBI situations like this. You want the ball to get there, and it just still in flight. McCann at third, single leading off the inning. Escobar with 1 out, doubled into third. Braves 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position in the series. 3-2 to Jason. Got him with a breaking ball, and he knew it. He got Gloss with a fastball that backed up over the inside corner, and now he gets Jason with a 3-2 slider.
Yeah, that's just no fear pitching. 3-0, you've got a lead, base open. That's just taking some experience. And telling the youngster, I made 3 quality pitches when I was behind 3-0 team.
Yeah, it was a 3-0 count.
We need a big 2-out hit right here.
Sure do. Melky 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Pitch for a strike.
Pick him up. Come on.
Moyer can't have much of a book on Cabrera. I haven't faced him before tonight. One and one to count. This is just vintage Jamie Moyer right here.
It looks like he hangs out over his leg. It looks like he's got nothing going to the plate and just slings the ball in different areas. But man, oh man, does he know how to have touch on the ball.
And he's going to get out of the inning if Castro can catch a pop-up. And he does. Braves had second and third, 1 out, can't score. We've played 6. They trail by 4.
Where else could you hug a 7-foot-tall polar bear? Take home a free 8-ounce glass bottle of Coke. Experience a thrilling 4D theater and taste beverages from around the world. Visit the world of Coca-Cola today.
Braves missed out on an opportunity, trailing 6-2. It's a party on Peachtree. Tune in every weeknight starting at 5 o'clock p.m. for your favorite comedies: The Office, Friends, Seinfeld, Family Guy, and House of Pain. I still think we're going to make it, Joe, you and I, on one of these deals.
You'll laugh fest. Joe and Goober. Peter Moylan's in his 8th game. 8th out of the Braves' first 15. He's not allowed a run in his 6 2/3 innings. 2 walks and 6 strikeouts. And he'll face Worth, Ibanez, and Castro. Jason Worth tonight. 0 for 1 with a walk and a sac fly. Driven in 1, scored 1.
You know, you mentioned they're going to be on the road quite some time here. It's going to be a tough one too. You go on the road. You only come home for 3 days. You don't have any time to do anything. Go right back on the road. That's the part of travel that gets a little tough, especially when you're a younger player and you don't have many clothes to choose from.
Spoken from experience. Well, they come back on a weekend, so you can't even send your clothes out.
No. Maddox never worried about that.
Good pitch from Peter, 1-1.
At one point on a road trip, he had more video games in his luggage than he did clothes.
Did you guys like gather in one room to play games?
Yeah.
Usually his. 2-1.
Oh, good pitch. You know, it varies what's the game of the flavor of the month, but Sega Golf there for a while. Man. Pretty realistic.
Well, back 2-2. I played with a guy who, when he would come back from a road trip, he'd just bring his suitcase over and park it by his locker, and it wouldn't move. And you go out on the next road trip, he'd just go over and they'd take it out, put it on the truck.
Yeah.
It was never opened. Clothes never washed. The same clothes kept going right back out every time. Got a little rank. Full count now to Worth.
Well, clubhouses and clubhouse personnel, the likes of Chris and Ben with the Braves, they're creating so many different services for guys. They'll come in and have their laundry be done.
Good hook. That's Peter Moylan. Had Worth fishing, and Peter gets his first strikeout. Yeah, you guys are pretty spoiled, you got to admit. Modern day players all but had somebody carry you to the field.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to argue there.
Raul Ibanez 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Took a call third his last time up. That was against Derek Lowe, who set down the last 8 he faced, but had some trouble in the first 3 innings and gave up 5 runs in his 5 innings. All of them came in the first and third innings. 2 of them were unearned.
Well, what I also liked about Greg's wardrobe is over a 9-game road stand, he didn't hide the fact that it was the same pants based on some of the stains you saw early.
Good.
On the plane with a pizza sauce or certain hair. And over time, he changed that approach.
That's what you like to hear about a Braves Hall of Famer. 3-0 to Ibanez. And there's a strike, 3-1. Braves had a golden opportunity to add a run, spoiled there in the bottom of the 6th. Second and third, one out, couldn't score. Out of play, 3-2. Yeah, again, 19 games in 20 days coming up for Atlanta, and 16 of those on the road. 2-city stop on this trip coming up: New York and St. Louis, then home for just 3 days with the Astros, then back on the road to Washington, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. And Ibanez draws a one-out walk.
There's the changeup that he's been working on. 3-2 pitch. Maybe thinking that he was going to attack a fastball and just missed on the outer half of the plate.
And it was 4 left-handers. That's why he came up with that changeup, worked on it, because he needed something off speed for lefties to get him off his sinker. Castro's had a good night. 2 for 3, a run scored. And he's made a couple of terrific plays at short. Playing in the absence of Jimmy Rollins, who's on the disabled list with a strained calf muscle. Defensively, they haven't missed him in this series the way Castro's played. Here's J. Roll talking about Moylan with Victorino. One and one.
Peter's a great story. Perseverance. Obviously from Australia, I believe. Men's baseball league over there, pitching.
Selling pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, and just, man, it's going to be a nice book someday when he continues his career and does what he does. Worked awfully hard.
And in his second year back from Tommy John surgery. Right back at him and past Escobar. That broke his bat, but Castro threads the needle up the middle, and he's got his 3rd hit of the night.
This pitch here is the frisbee, but it doesn't quite have enough sharp break at the end. Stays over the middle of the plate, and he's able to get it up the middle.
That one almost died by the time it got to Melky. First and second, one out for Ruiz. And Ross Glode has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle and would hit Jamie Moyer.
Bobby's got Peter in here to try and preserve this, what he believes is still a reachable game for his team, to knock on the door and possibly snatch this before they go to New York. And much of the way the bullpen gets used, traditionally he's going to be more in the games that he's winning leading up to the 7th, 8th, and 9th, but a lot of it has to do with the amount of rest certain guys have and the way that he wants to keep everybody fresh, and this is another way to keep his sidearm refreshed.
I agree with you, and let's flip-flop this. I mean, let's say the Braves have jumped out and knocked Jamie Moyer out, and they had a big lead coasting tonight. He might have used Moylan and Wagner tonight just to get some work in.
Right.
Saito worked last night.
I personally learned a tough lesson because I was under the conclusion, or came to the conclusion, I told Bobby when I was in the closer role, just pitch me in close games, just in save opportunities. I mean, I will let baseball games determine. I went 13 games in a row without pitching.
That changed your mind?
It did change my mind. It was too long. And, you know, because you're always trying to struggle with, if you pitch 2 games in a row and they're not save situations, then what if the next 3 games are saves? And you always run the risk of of burning some guys because you never know how the trends are going to go. Well, just so happened 13 games leading up to the All-Star game, and I didn't pitch in any of those, including the All-Star game, and that's just too long to not get in a game.
Ruiz fouls off a good pitch, still 2-2. Well, and when you told him that, I'm sure you never, ever dreamed that you'd go 2 weeks without pitching.
Correct.
You just figured there'd be a game you'd get in.
Now, 3 of those days were the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I mean, leading up to it, though. And then, unfortunately, on the flip side, coming out of the All-Star break, I think 7 out of 9 games. So all of a sudden you go long rest, then a lot of action, and that's not the best of both worlds either.
Ruiz putting up a good fight here.
It's a fine line. The hardest job of a manager is to keep his key guys fresh, to know that when they're counted on in those one-run games, it's clicking. You just saw Milwaukee wins 20-0 today, and their closer pitches because he hasn't pitched in a week.
Trevor Hoffman got an inning of work.
Safe to say he's probably never done that in his entire career. Hold down a 20-run game.
Yeah, we had a few to work with today. Close. Peter's thrown a lot of pitches. He's gone to some deep counts. It's up to 23 pitches already. 1 out. Full count now to Ruiz. Let's keep an eye on the Phillies runners and see if they're moving. They are not.
I know it might not call for it, but I'd like to see him throw a 3-2 slider right here and see if he can't get him to either swing and miss or roll over one, and let's get double play and get to swinging the bats.
Well, he took a little off that breaking ball to Worth to get him to fan on a 3-2 pitch, but that was leading off the inning. Here he's got 2 runners aboard. And it's lined to right. Hayward has it measured. Ibanez will tag in advance. Moore gets away, but Chipper's there to back it up. They're on the corners with 2 out. And Ross Glode will hit for Moyer. This guy was a good pickup for their bench. I mean, they already had Dobbs, a left-handed hitter, off the bench, but this guy's another one. Last year at Florida, 6 homers, 30 RBIs. Moylan gets ahead of him. As memory serves me, Johnny had a big home run off Rafael Soriano last year for the Marlins to beat the Braves. Seven for 14 with a homer against the top save leaders in the National League last year. 0-2.
One of the most underappreciated roles in all of baseball. Guy that comes off the bench, for all intents and purposes, cold, even though most places you can get some swings off the tee or at least loosen up. But
yeah, that kind of revolutionized pinch hitting, though. All these new stadiums that have batting cages near the dugouts. Coming in on him. Fights it off.
Pretty much forget that at Wrigley Field.
Not going to happen. Can't even go anywhere in Wrigley to just take a swing in the tunnel, can you?
And there's an accident waiting to happen in those tunnels with the zigzags, and you're running down trying to get in there and someone's coming up.
Water standing in various places. You hope it's water. Outside 1-2.
I think they had names in Fenway for their little local little mice or rats, whatever they want to call them up there in their clubhouses, running around. And they're going to hold that place for another, seems like, a few more years, as long as possible.
2-2.
That pitch, because he's working on it and because it's such a tough field pitch, you got to understand that he's releasing that ball from already an underhand motion, trying to turn it over, and the accuracy of that pitch is awfully difficult. Whereas everything else is going to be more natural, releasing the wrist. This is going to have, it's going to take him a while to be real comfortable with this pitch. The changeup we're talking about.
2-2 fastball fouled back. One of the things that I think is one of Peter's best assets is that most guys that throw sidearm or even submarine, they don't throw very hard. They've got a little hump in their pitches that causes some sinking action, but he throws hard.
Yes.
Low 90s. Up the middle, base hit. Ross Glode does it again. Heading to third is Castro. And Glode comes through with a pinch hit single. And the Phillies have their 5-run lead back.
Trying to lock him up inside. The ball doesn't quite get there. Look at it, almost outer corner of the strike zone. That's a big variance between success there for the hitter and the pitcher.
First run allowed by Peter Moylan this year, and that includes spring training. Victorino's going to add to it. Pulls one in the hole. Glode will stop at second. Victorino with his second hit of the series and his second RBI of the night. And it is 8-2 Phillies. Some of the folks heading for the exits. Valdez came in as a pinch hitter last inning. Stayed in the game. Takes a strike.
These are the innings as a reliever you just want to, you get mad because I know it's early and you work up some scoreless innings. It only takes one little bad inning to throw things out of whack. You got to be able to forget about it. You got to be able to go back out there as if you hadn't given up a run all year. As a starter, you just have a lot more opportunities to correct your mistakes and sustain yourself in a game. But as a reliever, it's just one bad hiccup, one bad inning, and you're fighting like mad to get it back down.
Yeah, one inning at a time. 1-2 to Valdez. He didn't offer it that breaking ball. Peter did not give up a run in spring training and had not given up a run in his first 6 2/3 coming into play tonight. Got him to chase a bad one, something he couldn't get from some of the hitters earlier in the inning, but the Phillies tack on 2 more runs on 3 hits. We go to the 7th inning stretch.
Well, there's a few of them out there. San Francisco forgot to put in their bullpen, so I'm going to give them the nod because they just added it on the foul line, and you're right up there, right next to the stands. So people could literally reach out, but more importantly, they could shout in your ear and say whatever they wanted to say to you, and sooner or later you can't take it anymore. LA's not. They've improved it, but you can't see when you're sitting down there. You got a little tiny window, but Wrigley and San Francisco right there next to the fans. I was always more concerned with letting one loose because the spacing, you're letting one go onto the field.
Yeah.
Versus whereas here at Turner Field, if you let one go, it's got to go a long ways to get on the field. But I'd say San Francisco.
Chad Durbin on to replace Jamie Moyer. Fires a strike to Nate McLeod, pinch hitting for Peter Moylan.
How do you forget the bullpen when you're putting in a new stadium?
I don't know. They had some problems in some other stadiums, too. Washington was one where they had a little issue trying to cram the bullpens in, too. Two and one to Nate.
I'll tell you another one that's not a favorite of mine. And they flip-flopped the bullpens because in Philadelphia had the upper bullpen, and they just said, no. It's too close to the fans.
Fans were on them.
Yeah.
They're on the Phillies pitchers.
So they flip-flopped it, and now the visitors bear the wrath.
Durbin, three-quarter delivery. Fastball's 85 to 90 with sink, and Nate McLeod rakes it to right field. That'll get past Worth and go to the wall. Nate McLeod with a leadoff double. Nate hit the game winner here in game one of this series, went 0 for 4 last night. He's back strong tonight with a leadoff double against Durbin. First one of the year for him. Durbin's also got a cutter and a changeup. Matt Diaz tonight, 0 for 3. Takes a strike. Last inning kind of took some steam out of the team, I would say, John. Down by 4, second and third, one out, chance to get at least one run in, and the Braves couldn't get anyone in.
Yeah, it's been a series of missed opportunities and a series of the Phillies commanding the pressure, putting the pressure on the Braves because their starting pitching has been so good. And of course, the Braves, for the most part, really have quieted the Phillies lineup.
Yeah.
But because you can be a little more aggressive when you've got the lead and you're up and do more things, it tends to favor the team that is ahead.
Phillies had 3 runs on 9 hits and 10 innings in game one. Last night they won the game 2-0 behind Halladay. 2 runs on 7 hits. Tonight they've broken it open. 8 runs on 11 hits. But I got to admit, I've been surprised at how well Kendrick pitched, number one, and surprised that Moyer. Not surprised so much, but knowing that Jamie had a couple of starts that weren't real good. A little surprised the Braves weren't able to make more headway against him tonight, I would say.
And I know the Phillies have made some nice plays, but it's not like the Braves have been beating the ball around the park. They've been hitting a lot of ground balls. There's nothing to carry the momentum other than that one inning where they came back and elevated 3 balls for home runs.
Diaz down on strikes. Martin Prado, the batter, 1 for 3 with a double tonight. Stepped out of an 0 for 7, which is newsworthy for him, with a double in the 3rd inning. Fastball at the letters. 1-1 the count. Durbin, a 32-year-old out of Spring Valley, Illinois. 6'2", 225. Last year, 59 games for the Phillies. 2-2 with a 4.39 ERA. Originally signed by the Royals back in '96, third-round pick. He's been in the big leagues with them. Cleveland, Detroit, and the Phillies. 2-2 to Martin. Now to play. What options does Bobby Cox have for his offense in terms of lineup flexibility? If he wanted to make some changes, if he wanted to adjust it some.
Well, I mean, that lends to his patience. He's going to give a certain time frame to work itself out, but the options that can exist is because the leadoff batters have been struggling. Maybe look at putting Prado and moving him up and creating something, because you've got to get to Chipper and McCann, and you've got to create some opportunities that exist to drive in some runs, because otherwise you're looking at trying to do a lot of two-out, putting a lot of pressure on two-out hits, two-out run score.
Leadoff men do not have a hit in this series. Diaz 0 for 4 in game 1. McLeod 0 for 4 in game 2. Diaz 0 for 4 tonight. To right field. Good piece of hitting by Martin. McLeod will be stopped at third. No reason to run into an out there. Down by 6. And they're on the corners for Chipper. And one thing about the lineup, despite the lack of an on-base percentage for the leadoff man, John, is that Prado, Chipper now, and McCann are all hitting.
Right.
They just haven't had too many guys on base in front of them to start innings. Leadoff men are 6 for 63.
Yeah, and when you're an opposing pitcher, you're taking notice to that, and you're playing into that as your strength, because then you have flexibility to be able to pitch around Chipper, pitch around McCann, and, you know, with Troy Gloss, it's an opportunity to get a double play ball. You hope you don't yield the home run to him. So there are some, it's pitchable, and when teams start getting pitchable and predictable, it takes away something for the other team to think about. And so the Braves don't traditionally have a classic leadoff hitter. I know McLeod, he's more of a leadoff hitter that will hit with power. You know, he'll hit some home runs out of the leadoff hole.
Just a little off the plate, 2-0 to Chipper. But we do agree that it's got to get better. The leadoff spot's got to get better. 6 for 63 won't get it done. Three 3-0. Chipper certainly will get a green light here. Chipper 1 for 5 in his career against Durbin with a homer. Durbin working quickly, nowhere near the plate. 4 wide ones, and they're loaded for McCann. And Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, out to talk to Durbin.
Right here's a scenario where arguably Brian has been the most consistent hitter over the last 2 years for the Braves, and you just want to avoid any kind of hope. And so what he's going to tell him here is get an out. Don't care if it's a long out. Don't care. Get an out. Mix it around in the strike zone. Try to get him to hit it on the ground. And let's keep this lead. But you don't want to give anybody hope here by Brian getting a double or single, and then, you know, now you're starting to think about changing the bullpen and getting guys in.
Well, we're talking about the leadoff man and how much they've struggled. A point of emphasis here, Brian, 5 of the last 6 grand slams hit by the Braves. But the Braves, in all honesty, looking for their first hit with runners in scoring position in this series. And Durbin can't find the plate. 1-0. McLeod at third. Prado at second. Chipper at first.
We're going to get Danny Baez back up in a hurry.
2-0 to Bryan, who's 1 for 4 in his career against Durbin. Baez.
Right here, Bryan's got to be looking at one pitch only. Something to drive. Get it up in the air.
That's 7 straight that have missed from Durbin.
I would expect if he misses here, the catcher's going to talk to him, stall a little time, try to get Danny back in the ball game as the reliever. The old stall tactics for a guy hurrying up, trying to get ready.
Man, is he working fast. Durbin I'm talking about. 3-1.
Oh.
Got him to reach for one, and that was off the end of the bat. Full count. Braves did not score an earned run off the 3 Phillies starters in this series. 23 innings pitched, no earned runs. To left. Ibanez gives ground. He'll make the catch. McLeod will tag and score. The other runners hold. They're first and second with 1 out. McCann gets his 7th RBI.
And that's a huge out. That's exactly what he needed to do. All of a sudden, big rally. It's a little dimmed right now. He may have a chance to finish the inning and minimal damage.
He'll be trying to get a ground ball from Troy Gloss, who's 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of called third strikes sandwiched around a grounder to third.
Look for Troy to be aggressive here.
1-0.
Eight to 6 sounds pretty nice right now.
Wouldn't it though? Turned one around from Madsen the other night in the 9th inning. Madsen threw right down Broadway, and Troy was ready for it. 2-0 the count. Pretty good pitch. Not a good hitter's pitch there in a 2-0 count. Looking for something middle in, and that was in the outer third. Got that one by him, 2-2. Durbin trying to bounce back after a double, a single, and a walk.
You know, it's
now
interesting.
Full count, and the runners will be moving.
It just seems when you're not clicking as an offensive hitter, it just seems like you always got 2 strikes on you. You know, 173 batting average. Rarely is it 2-0, 3-1.
Runners going. Troy Gloss strikes out. Durbin bounces back, gives up only 1 run. We go to the 8th.
CBS in a National League Central clash. The Chicago Cubs take on the Milwaukee Brewers from Miller Park. Coverage begins at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Brian Anderson and Ron Darling will have the call. Glenn Diamond will produce. And I know that Glenn will have the roof closed to make sure there is no bad climate.
Well,
Might spoil the game.
Let me ask you something. Why is it not the Brother Network?
I don't know. Why?
I mean, sister network. I mean, I just always hear a sister network.
I see.
Just the way it is. Don't read too much into it.
Probably not. It's probably a joke there somewhere for you, though.
No, I'm not going there. It's 8-3. We're not doing. I'm not going there.
Double switch here for the Braves. You saw Hensky check in at first base. He'll bat ninth, and Jesse Chavez will bat in the cleanup spot. Excuse me, the fifth spot. And take over on the mound. Jesse had a rough spring, but as he said, he's a slow starter. That doesn't mean he started slow in the regular season. 6 1/3 innings, 1 run allowed, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He can bring it. 1-1 to Utley. 1 for 2 with a couple of walks. Short, quick swing, but he fouled it back.
Haven't seen much of him either when he's pitching, but it looks like he has every ounce of energy going to home plate. He uses every part of his body. The only thing I could see, a lot of movement might get him off of the consistency of pitches, but so far, good velocity, good command so far, and being able to, well, show pitch there. But that's what I'm talking about. That ability to stay within, at short spurts coming out of the pen, trust his body, use his body to deliver a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Two and 2. Found it back at 95 miles an hour.
He would have trouble fielding the ball to the third base side the way he comes after the hitter, and anything that would be a bunt or excuse me type swing is going to give him a little bit of trouble, because that's where he's finishing. That's where he's getting his power as he lands on that leg.
To right field, but off the end of the bat, and Hayward's there for the out. Gave you some National League scores earlier. Over in the junior circuit, Indians over Minnesota, slowing down the Twins a little bit. They're off to a great start. Marte had a home run. Good for him. Former Brave. Oakland beat the Yanks and CC Sabathia tonight, 4-2. Texas over Boston in the ninth. Trying to salvage a game in that series.
Our buddy Millwood's throwing the ball good, but in a tough situation right now. 0-3 with Baltimore. Doesn't look like they're going anywhere.
Wow. Good pitch by Jesse to Ryan Howard, who's 1 for 4 with an RBI. Drove in a run in the first. Now Baltimore came into play tonight 2 and 14. Lost 9 of their last 10.
Kevin had 2 leads leading the game. Couldn't get wins. Ended up getting a loss, I think, in one of them.
Shift on. Oh, good pitch.
Tell you what, 2 really good off-speed pitch, followed by 97 just off the outside part of the plate. Didn't matter because Howard wasn't going to be able to hit that at all.
Hit that one hard, but right at Hayward. 2 down. We're getting a report. Our Peachtree ticker just got a report that injury report on Jacoby Ellsbury has 4 hairline fractured ribs after that collision with Adrian Beltre. So sounds like he might be out for a while.
It's painful.
Worth doesn't have a hit tonight, but he does have
An RBI and a run scored. Still bringing it. 95 from Chavez. The 1-1 to Worth. 2-1. Good off-speed pitch there.
I'll tell you what, to be able to do that to a righty or a lefty at any time, hitter's going to be shaking his head when he's gearing up for 95, 96 miles an hour. The arm action is perfect on that pitch, and it just comes out at about 8 miles an hour slower.
See what he does here. 2-2.
Great
gas. 96. Worth couldn't pull the trigger. Great inning for Jesse Chavez. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Zaxby's indescribably good play of the game. Get ready for ice cold bliss with a new Zaxby's milkshake. Matt Diaz led off for the Braves in the game tonight. Looked like that was going to get things going for Atlanta, but what a great play here by Jason Worth on the first batter of the ballgame for Atlanta. Robbing Matt Diaz of a certain base hit. The indescribably good play of the game from Zaxby's.
More than likely would have been a triple had that got by him the way he went after it and by the time he could recover.
New York Yankees turned a triple play today in their loss to the Oakland A's. It was the first triple play the Yankees had turned since 1968. And what makes that noteworthy for folks in Atlanta is that Bobby Cox was involved in that triple play for the Yanks in '68. Dennis Baez will work the 8th. Email Escobar leads off and takes a strike. I need to correct something I said last inning, that the Braves were 0 for in this series with men in scoring position. And that's not true. Jammed, and Huntley will throw him out. Braves are 1 for 15, and the hit actually came last inning after McLeod had doubled with 1 out. Prado got the base hit to right field. It didn't score a run, but it was a base hit with a runner in scoring position. You stand corrected, Mr. Simpson. Jason Hayward 0 for 2. He reached after being hit by a pitch in the second inning. Came up with the bases loaded, 1 out in the 6th with Jamie Moyer after falling behind 3-0, able to come back and strike him out. Line to center. Victorino right there, hit right at him. Jason's 0 for 3. Here's Cabrera, 0 for 2 with a walk.
Danny Baez does not throw as hard as he once did. He's got a little unorthodox delivery. He's got a little bit of a cup motion with his hand as it comes out of the glove. Creates a little bit of deception, but also a little bit of problems on his joints. He's had a few surgeries, I think, and one-time closer coming in, strengthening their bullpen.
94 on his fastball. Has a good curveball. Just saw there. 0-2 to Melky. $22,476 here tonight. A lot of folks still here hoping the Braves can rally. Down by 5. Phillies jumped out early. They led 5-0 after 3 innings. Braves cut it to 5-2 after 5. Phillies got one of those runs back in the 6th. They added 2 more in the 7th. Braves got a run last inning to make it 8-3. Swinging bunt. Ruiz is on that quickly and throws him out. And the Braves go in order in the 8th. Easy inning for Baez. We head to the 9th. Braves. Jesse Chavez back out there for the 9th inning. He had a 1-2-3-8. He'll face Ibanez, Castro, and Ruiz. Those guys have created some havoc tonight. Bottom part of the order. Ibanez takes a strike. He's been on base twice, but walked and scored a run in the 7th. Castro's 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored, and Ruiz 2 for 4. Down the line and out of play.
That's twice now. He's gotten a lot of carry on just swinging the other way. Doesn't even look like he got it. The ball's almost been one of the first times home run distance that time.
Yeah. First one, I'm surprised didn't slice more. I mean, it held the line pretty strong. Just went foul. Lays off that fastball. 1-2. His at bat, perhaps the biggest key of the ball game, with the bases loaded and 1 out in the 3rd inning. He hit into what was going to be what looked like a sure double play And Prado made an errant throw to Escobar. Yunel didn't handle it, a little off the bag. And that allowed 2 runs to score, and they added a third in the 3rd inning. That was a big play. A nice piece of hitting, lined the other way. Diaz will try to hold him to a single. And he does. Good hustle by Matt. Banez has his first hit. He came in not hitting anything into this series. Came in hitting 171, and he was 0 for 13 coming into this series. Went 1 for 2 with 2 walks in game 1. Went 1 for 3 with a double and a walk in game 2. And 1 for 4 tonight with a walk. So he's gotten healthy. And Castro's average with his 3 for 4 night tonight, he's up to 364. He drove in that 3rd run in the 3rd inning. Texas did shut out Boston 3-0. On the play.
Mets are playing a little bit better. Braves going in there this weekend. Looks like the weather be good for 2 of the 3 games.
That kid Leak for the Reds that came out of Arizona State, never pitched in the minor leagues, got his first win tonight. Beat the Dodgers. Now the pitching matchups in New York. Kawakami against John Maine, who's been struggling mightily here in the early going. That's tomorrow night. Jurgens against Jonathan Neese on Saturday afternoon. And then Sunday night on ESPN, Tommy Hanson against Mike Pelfrey. They miss Santana. Out of play, still 1-2. One guy the Braves won't miss on this road trip is Adam Wainwright. I believe he's scheduled to pitch Wednesday or Thursday against Atlanta in St. Louis. Got him. Cut that one a little bit.
Hard slider.
Was it a slider? 91.
Really impressed with the stuff of Chavez.
Good location too, right at Brian McCann's glove. Carlos Ruiz, 2 out of 4 tonight. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. In the Braves' 9th, it'll be Hinsky, Diaz, and Prado. Braves need 5 to tie, 6 to win. Jesse can get through this inning unscathed.
Well, if you're the Braves and you're looking for any relief on this next upcoming road trip, don't expect it. St. Louis 2nd in the league in ERA. New York 4th. So they're going to have to battle and grind out some runs.
Another good off-speed pitch, 1-2. Al Galima tells me that the Phillies have 12 hits tonight. 8 have come when the batter had 2 strikes on him. Out of play. Our man TJ in the truck keeps track of such things. Well done, sir. 2-2 the count. And again, Ruiz battles hard. Another 2-2 pitch. Oh, just missed. Full count. 33 pitches for Jesse, 22 strikes. And Ruiz bounces a slow roller to Escobar. His only play is to first. 2 down. Ben Francisco will pinch hit for Baez. Francisco came over last year in the Cliff Lee deal. 1 for 7 on the season. Pitch, another off-speed pitch and a beauty. 1-1. Phillies get on their charter tonight and fly to Phoenix. They've got a game tomorrow night, open up a weekend series with the Diamondbacks. Got a pretty good road trip working too. 3 here, 3 in Arizona, and then 3 in San Francisco.
Facing Chris Benson tomorrow.
How about that comeback?
Yeah.
Good for him. Francisco sends one a mile high into shallow center. Melky's there. He's got it, and the inning is over. Strong 2 innings for Jesse Chavez. He fans a couple. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Last call for the Braves. They trail by 5.
In on Jim Carrey, The Truman Show, Sunday at 7 on Peachtree TV.
As we go to the bottom of the 9th, fans, here's a reminder to stay tuned after the game for the AT&T game summary. AT&T, rethink possible. David Herndon called on to finish the game for the Phillies.
He spent a season in one of my favorite, I just love saying this, Rancho Cucamonga. I don't know why I laugh when I hear that, but 2008 A-ball. Last year, non-roster invitee to the Angels.
Got him in a Rule 5 draft.
Rancho Cucamonga.
Eric Henske leads off for the Braves. Down by 5. Henske came on in a double switch last inning. And he rockets one past Ryan Howard into right field. Base hit. Jason Worth up with it quickly, holding him to a single, but Henske with another hard hit ball. Herndon, 6'5", 230 out of Panama City, Florida. He lives now in Southport, Florida. First man aboard, trailing by 5. Braves got off the deck in the 9th inning in the first game of this series. But this might turn into 2. 4-6-3. Tough night for Matt Diaz. 0 for 5. 2 out in the 9th. Martin Prado, 2 hits tonight. 2 of the Braves' 7. Came in hitting 400. He's bumped it back up to 407. $12-2 for the Phils. 3-7-1 for Atlanta. Bouncer back over the bag. Who's going to get it? Well, Castro came up with it, but couldn't field it cleanly, and that'll be another hit for Prado, his 3rd. Well, one thing's for sure, if nothing else, John, that we've learned about the Phillies is that their starting pitching is a little better than I thought it was in the absence of Happ and Blanton.
Yeah, everybody knows about what they can do offensively, and we really kept them at bay for these 3 games, but the carryover effect of adding a guy like Halladay and just the influence he's going to have on the pitchers around him speaks volumes to what the Phillies thought of him when they went and traded for him and gave up a lot. And the return already has been impressive.
Chipper bats with 2 out. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. Good work by our crew for this 3-game series. Glenn Diamond, our producer, Maceo Grant, our director. Liner down the line, fair ball, headed for the corner. Prado heading to 3rd, and he'll be stopped there as Chipper pulls into 2nd with a double. Chipper continues to swing the bat. He'll go 9 for 21 on this homestand. Unless the Braves bat around here, and they might just do that. Brian McCann 1 for 3 with a sac fly. Brian's RBI tonight, his 7th of the year. Oh, and 1. As you said before, 8-6 would sound kind of good right here.
Yes, it would. It's an awfully good sinker. He tried the front door. Brian, a lot of movement from his front half as he's delivering to home plate as the pitcher I'm talking about. And as he tries to hone in on his mechanics. He's got a live arm. Got to locate.
Two-one pitch. Well, it's kind of interesting. He pitched at Arkansas last year, which is in the Texas League. He went 5-6, had a good ERA of 3.03. But he didn't strike out a ton of guys. 35 strikeouts in 65 innings, only 14 walks. Philly scouts saw something there they liked to make him a Rule 5 grab. Deep drive to left. Ibanez on the track has it, and the ball game is over. The Philadelphia Phillies blow a game here in Game 1, but they get off the deck themselves and come back to win the last two games of the series and win tonight's contest by a final score of 8-3. Back to wrap things up right after this.